confirm, I have my own questions in a minute, but I just want to confirm the misunderstanding that Mr. Mathews has. NAMA are paying the banks for the toxic loans that are being transferred to them by bonds which are being financed by the ECB at an interest rate of 1.5%, or underwritten by the ECB.
No, you're incorrect.
Let me finish. At an interest rate of 1.5%. If it weren't for the fact that the ECB are actually underwriting these loans to the Irish government at a rate of 1.5%, we wouldn't be able to transfer these loans into NAMA. Now, that's my understanding, Chairman.
Wrong, actually.
And what are you telling us then?
It's very simple. The banks have toxic loans, not toxic loans, loans that they'll never recover, and they have to be written down to what they think they might get back. That's the figure that NAMA is buying them for, okay? And how is NAMA paying for them? NAMA is paying by the issue of government-guaranteed bonds that pay a coupon above the 3-month Euribor rate, which means the banks get income for them. Now, with those bonds that produce income for the banks,
Someone getting the money.
what do you mean the government? The government just prints them. They're promissory notes. They'll get the money eventually to pay them back from the recoveries of the loans.
Are you saying the ECB has nothing to do with this?
The ECB might have something to do with this. What they've said is, and this was the attraction, this is what Brian Lennon said to me personally on the 6th of November, was the attraction, that there's only 0.5% above the ECB rate if the banks use the bonds that they get for getting loans from the ECB. Cheap ECB loans.
See, the ECB might have something to do with this. Is that what you're saying?
They'll only have something to do with it if the banks go to the ECB and say, we'd like a loan, please, against the security of the bonds. If they don't go near the ECB is there saying that our window is open to give you loans on this agreed basis, if you come to us with these bonds as security for us giving you the loans, that we've actually committed to giving you the loans. But unless the banks go and draw them down, it's like, Deputy Fahy, if I'm a banker and I say to you, I'm giving you a standby credit on these terms, if you give me security. If you come into my bank and give me security, I'll give you the loans.
Wouldn't the banks take money at 1.5%, a very low interest? Why wouldn't they take it? And why wouldn't they use that money to start lending again, as the government have required them to do, to the tune of 12 billion over the next 2 years? Why wouldn't they do that?
Because, I'll tell you why they mightn't do it. Because they might decide to use, if they do borrow from the ECB at 1.5% currently, and that could rise to 5.5%.
Yeah. We all know that.
But if they do use that money, do you know what they might use it for? They might use it for paying back expensive deposits. Because deposits are expensive for the banks. So, you know, that's how they might use it, which isn't giving it to get business.
But if they use it to improve their overall capital position, surely to goodness Bank of Ireland and AIB, their main responsibility from now on, in terms of making a profit for themselves, is to start lending money. And if they're able to borrow it from the ECB at 1.5% and give it out to customers at 3.5% or 4%, surely that makes good sense.
Can I give you an example? If the bank is paying, say, on some expensive deposits at the moment, 3%, just say, and say they can borrow from the ECB at 1.5%, wouldn't they use that borrowing to pay back the deposits?
Their business, as long as they can improve their capitalised situation. And that's the whole point in NAMA, is to take those toxic loans that they can't do anything with at the moment and to reduce their value, but at least to give them back some value.
Experts would tell you, people with experience and experts would tell you, if
experts, other than yourself, claim it to be an expert.
Well, excuse me for a moment. In England, RBS is 84% owned by the state. Lloyd's TSB is owned 43 or 44% at the moment, depending on what stocks are bought back. Those two banks have got on with the job of recoveries, realisations and workouts to a far greater degree on their loan portfolios than our banks have. Why? Because our country is in a state of suspense because of the uncertainty, doubt, distrust and everything surrounding NAMA. I told you earlier, not fit for purpose. The Americans saw it in 5 weeks.
Back to my questions, but I just wanted to, and he has clarified that what I've said is correct.
So I think